Good morning. Elle Ingalls here at pressure-free.com. And we are on day 4 of the Pressure Free Deep Dive. We're getting some people in here. It's not quite 8. So if you are new to me, my name is Elle Ingalls. And in 2010, I created a method to help people reduce stress, anxiety, and overwhelm so they could truly step into their full potential, to experience some really exponential growth in their life so that they could really move forward and experience the health that they know deep inside they could actually experience. And I see Paula's on here. Good morning, Paula. You're coming in live here. I'm gonna go to speaker view. So you can stay on camera. I'm going to warn you though, we're live on Facebook, Paula. So if you want to take your, oh, and you can't hear me yet. I'm just going to chat you so you know what's up. We are live on Facebook. So anybody coming in Zoom, if you want to, now you're connected. If you want to mute and take your camera off, you can, because we are live on Facebook, okay?
Oh, okay.
And then at about 8:20, I'll come off and we'll go live in Zoom together, okay? So we'll do the first 20 minutes live on Facebook as well as on Zoom, and then we'll come off and have 10 minutes together.
Okay.
So if this is your first experience on this deep dive, this is day 4. And as we go back in time, day 1, we worked on sleep. So you can go down through my feed and catch day 1, sleep. Day 2, we worked on time stressors. Time is a real stressor for a lot of people. And so we went deep dive on that. Yesterday, we did anxiety and worry. And today we're going to talk about self-sabotage, because it is such an insidious, creepy little thing to have everything going great and then you screw it up somehow. I remember my husband and I got invited to a musician New Year's Eve party, a lot of singers, and they said, bring your instruments. So my husband brought his guitar, I brought my violin. Everybody was singing and playing. It was really a fun party. And then somebody asked me if I would play this piece by Bach that they had heard me play on a recital. And it's a very intense piece. It's the first movement of the G minor sonata. If you want to look it up, for unaccompanied violin. It's a beautiful piece. I actually have a recording on it somewhere in my feed, and of me playing it. So anyway, I'm like, sure, yes. So I start playing this beautiful piece of music, and I get 3/4 of the way through, and I have a complete memory lapse. Like I can't finish the piece. And I just stopped and I said, I'm sorry. Like it just ended. Because I couldn't remember the piece. So what happened to me in that moment? Like everything was going great, and then suddenly, I couldn't remember. I lost the thread. I couldn't even pick it back up. Like I just stopped. I didn't even try. And because I went into such embarrassment, right? And that's what will often happen when you're suddenly going sideways in something. You say something kind of stupid in a meeting. You're working on this project and then you don't finish it on time, or you've done something that really is a self-sabotaging thing. So there's a wonderful book written in 2007, 2008. I remember reading it in 2008, called The Big Leap. 2008 was the year that I was at this party. And it was the year that I played this Bach on the recital, completely from memory, in recital, on a faculty recital. And it went fantastic, right? And so I thought I could repeat it. This is what happens sometimes is, okay, we are able to do something, we think we can repeat it, and then the self-sabotage happens. So Gay Hendricks wrote this book, The Big Leap. And one of the things that he talks about is that, he asked the question, why are things going really well and then suddenly not? What is happening there? And can we stay in the good longer? Can we stay in the great feeling longer? Why do we sabotage it? So he has a lot of reasons why. I just want to pick out a couple for you today. And then I took his teachings and I went into pressure free with it. And that's what I want to share with you today. It's like the deep reasons, there are deep reasons why we do this, but then how do we stop it? So Hendricks talks about how when you were a baby, you got fed, loved, changed, everything was beautiful. And then you became, or hopefully enough for you to survive and be here today, okay? However your parents were. And then you became mobile and you started to reach for things, glass, things that could break, things that were hot, things that could hurt you or things you could hurt. And you got a message. No, baby. Maybe it was a gentle pull away. No, baby, in a soft voice, just redirecting you. Maybe it was a harsh slap and a yell. No, baby, don't touch that. That's not for you. Or, one of those kinds of phrases that came at you. And so you got yanked away from this thing. Honestly, it doesn't matter where it falls on that continuum of gentle to harsh. We all got the same message. We started to reach for something and we were told you can't have it. So then we become teens, young adults. We start reaching for some of our dreams, the dreams we had in kindergarten, like some things we wanted to do. And we start reaching, but there's a voice in here that says, you can't have that. That morphs into the voice that says, you'll never be good enough to have that. And even phrases like, you'll never be enough. You can't do that. What makes you think you can do that? Like the voice in here can get really crazy. It's not your true voice. That's your stressed out voice. So we get this message. And so we start giving up on our dreams. We start thinking that we can't do these things that maybe we really had a passion for, desire for, because we'll never be good enough. We can't reach it. I remember my eldest son when he was young, he was probably 4 or 5. He started doing this. He would reach with his hand. He goes, I can't reach it. He'd pull back actually from the thing he was trying to touch. It was kind of interesting. We worked with that. We watched that. But there's something else I have to share about our parenting with our children, because my husband, who has a lot more patience than I ever do, he was our primary parent for the older 2. He stayed home with them while I worked full time, and then he worked in the evenings. So we did this, we reversed it when our youngest was born. I learned so much from my husband. And one of the things he would do is let's say this is the thing that the child was reaching for that you didn't want them to touch. He would let them touch it. He would let them hold it and feel it and teach them how to be gentle with it. And they're not even talking. These are just babies he's holding and they're doing this. I watched him touch this little glass bird I had in my bureau like 15 times, back and forth, and he'd put it back, and then the baby would reach again. He'd let him touch it again. What was my husband teaching my children? When you reach for something, you can have it. And if you keep reaching repeatedly, you can really have it. That's the message we need to have. That's the message we need to make our dreams flourish. And the things that we really want to have happen in the world happen, so that we have persistence and we don't give up. Children are blocked from having persistence and consistency. They're told no, and they're pulled away from these things they want to touch. So it's fascinating. It was so cool to watch my husband. So I did the same thing when I was the at-home parent, really opening up for our kids to experience their dreams. And if you go check out my sons, you'll see they are living out their dreams. It's so cool to watch. So you're doing that to yourself now. You're parenting yourself as an adult. And when you're starting to reach for something, you're actually starting to tell yourself now, you can't have that. So what happens in the self-sabotage, and how does it relate to pressure-free? When something's going really well and all of a sudden it starts going sideways, you more than likely triggered the stress response in that moment. That's why I had the memory lapse. I could not remember for the life of me, because in that moment, when I must have gotten to a tricky spot and I had a little trepidation, like I might not play it well, and that fear caused me to trigger the fight or flight. And so then I lost my memory. I lost my train of thought. So it's in that moment that you start to feel yourself getting a little wonky, going a little sideways, it's right in that moment. You've got 10 seconds. The beauty of pressure free. You have this 10-second solution. And you can put some tools in there to allow yourself to stay up and in that good energy, to stay all the way through your project, to not say the bonehead thing in the meeting, but to actually have a really great meeting go down. I can't tell you how many of my clients are like, my meetings are so great now. I'm thinking of meetings because I'm about to coach 8 or 9 executive women in pressure free this morning for a 3-hour training. And I'm pretty jazzed about it because when I get to share pressure free with leaders, I know there'll be a ripple effect. Like there'll be something that happens and transpires because they will see how impactful this method can be. So, okay, so let me give you some tools right up front here. First of all, the acknowledgement. I don't know if I've ever told the story of my mental lapse during that New Year's party. I don't think I've ever shared that story with anybody. So today I acknowledged it. I came forward and I shared it with you. Acknowledgement sets you free. If you're in a relationship, relationships go like this, right? Like everything's going great and then everything's going great. What if you can stay up in the great longer? What is it that's causing you to say the thing? Maybe it's a critique of your partner or spouse, maybe it's just like little twist. And now you've lost that great feeling you were both experiencing on your date together, or whatever it is you're doing. So it's like, why do we do that? Well, again, there's a lot of hidden reasons why you do it, but fear is the big one. We have a serious fear of going all in, because what if we fail? If you go all in your relationship, all in, like really all in without holding back, and they reject you, that's just way, way too scary. You're pushed out of the tribe. You're pushed out of the relationship. So we'll hold back. Here are some tools. The first is the spirit of contribution. Spirit of contribution is the opposite of competition. When we're in competition, and we're in competition in our relationships, at work, with coworkers, with family members, sisters, if you have siblings, you might be in competition with them. Competition for attention of your parents, love, respect, attention, money. That's what we compete for. So in competition, 2 things happen. If you fear you might lose, you'll trigger the stress response. And now you're going to underperform. Second thing that happens, I consider it like a split hand. You can win, which is great, but you could lose. And that scares you. So you'll trigger fight or flight. Now you're underperforming. Here's the other thing we do. We don't go all the way to the end. We don't go all in because we need to be able to justify and rationalize if we're not successful. Does that make sense? So we actually hold back a little bit. We don't go all the way. I learned this from coaching middle school track. And, like they cross the finish line, they go, oh, Mrs. Ingalls, I could have run faster. Like, why the heck don't they just give it their all? What holds them back? It's this fear of not getting the target time or not getting the place that I thought they should as their coach. It's the fear of not meeting the expectation. So we hold back so we have the reason why we didn't meet the goal. Does that make sense? It's really, really powerful. Spirit of contribution, you're just giving your unique gifts and talents out freely to the world with no fear of loss. No fear of loss. You're just putting it out there. I put it out there. I'm sure I got some haters out there, and at least 20% of the people out there don't like me. But I know that there's people out there for whom this matters. And they're tired of the stress. They're tired of the anxiety. They're afraid of what might be happening to their hearts, or their lungs, or their brains. Like this matters to people. So I'm like, all in, you guys. I am all in. I don't care how stupid I look, how crazy I do it. I'm out on my walk. I'm all in for you. Because I want to touch over 1 million people and have them start living pressure free so we can transform this society. This stressed out society has got to change. It has to change. And this is an answer. It's a powerful answer. So contribute. Give your gifts and talents freely with no fear of loss or judgment. People will judge you. They just will. Even though their sacred texts tell them not to, they still will. So you just have to go for it. Spirit of contribution can really help you in this moment when you start to self-sabotage, because your ego is now removed. You're just contributing. You're just contributing you uniquely to situations, your gifts, your talents, your knowledge, your skills. So another tool for self-sabotage is when you're getting, usually the self-sabotage is either a self-talk in your head or here. So zip your lips. Just get a little quiet when you hit that point where you start to feel like you're going, just get a little quiet. When you get a little quiet, it gives your brain a moment to think about how you really want to respond in this situation. When we go into fight or flight, we blurt things out, we say things that definitely sabotage situations. So if you can notice that you're starting to feel a little something in that 10-second window and just get quiet, it can be so life-saving in relationships with coworkers, your spouse, your kids, your parents, because then we blurt the thing out and now we're down. Now we've lost it. So that's a really great little tool. It's so totally simple. But again, you need to acknowledge, you need to see that you're starting to feel that tension. I will notice it in my body, like I'll just starting to tighten up, my shoulders will tighten up a little. That's a sign for me. Maybe that could be for you too. The third tool I want to give you today comes from tool 9 of my basic set of 9 tools. I call it the 9 tools system. It's what I teach my clients in their second session with me, so that they can really start to create systems of tools to use in this 10-second window. Because you know what? Our habits of action are really ingrained. I know for some of mine, I have to use like 3 tools just to break through, just to make it happen. So these 9 tools, tool 9 is about goal setting. And I'm actually picking out just one aspect of a 3-step goal setting tool that I have. And that's the 3rd step. This 3rd step is to, I'm going to grab my calendar. Actually, this is my pressure-free planner right here. So pressure-free planner. If you want a pressure-free planner, just let me know. It's online, and I'll give you a special gift of a hard copy too if you purchase the online version. So I take my calendar here, my calendar portion on the planner, and I actually have 2 planners. So I'll grab the other one. I use one of these at a glance. I'm a paper girl, by the way, for all my planning. I need to see it, not on a screen. So I use this baby, and whatever my appointments are for the day, whatever those are, I transfer them here, and I put a word next to them that describes how I want to show up, how I want to feel, not the outcome of whatever it is I've put together here, but the actual feeling I want to experience the whole time in doing that activity. I don't care if it's an oil change or a dental appointment. I had an oil change once where they take kind of a long time at this place I used to take my car. So I packed up a tote bag full of stuff. I was working on my first book to go with my course. And I'm sitting there like happily writing away. I'm in sweats. I'm like just hanging out at the car dealership. And along comes a woman about 80 years old. She goes, "Excuse me, but I wonder if you could, what are you working on? I wonder if you could share with me what you're working on." So I told her, and she goes, "Oh my, I run the cancer support group in Albion. It's a small group, but would you be willing to speak?" I was like, "Of course. I lost my mom to breast cancer. I would love to speak." So I went, and I ended up coaching a woman that was there that night. And it was some of the most impactful, beautiful coaching I've ever done to help her stay in remission from cancer. When you trigger fight or flight, you create a very acid body where cancers and bacteria thrive. That's why ulcers, cancer, anything bacterial, and immune system problems run rampant when you're in fight or flight. If I was having a crappy day at the car dealership, that woman never would have approached me. But she approached me because I was having a fabulous day working on my book. So fabulous is one of my words. I use like purposeful, inspiring, amazing, fantastic, exquisite, whatever word works for you. I remember I had a voice student who's now a professional musician, and he would use the word breathtaking for his speaking. So breathtaking is a word he used. You can use, adjectives and any describing kind of word, adjectives, adverbs, if you're thinking about how you want to do something. So that is really, my clients who use that tool, what it's doing for you is you're putting an intention on how you want to feel. Most of us allow all these external stimuli, other people, situations, to determine how we feel. I want you to take it back. I want you to decide how you feel going into a meeting. Not scared, not afraid you're going to mess up. But you might say, meeting at 9 a.m. with team, powerful, or courageous, or impactful, or loving, compassionate. Like, how do you want to feel while you're doing these activities of your day? Even personal activities like having dinner with someone. How do you want to show up? When you decide how you want to show up, magic starts to happen. Things change because you're no longer at the whim of all of these external stimuli. The media will pop you fast. And now you're having a crappy day. You deserve a beautiful day. Those of you who work with me, you know that I stand for that. I truly believe that every human deserves a fulfilling life. It's not always going to be easy. I'm not saying easy. I'm saying fulfilling, that there's joy in there. Even in the harshest of things happening, that you find joy, that you find happiness. And I totally stand for that. And it's completely possible the more pressure-free you live, because you're taking back your life. You're giving yourself quality life every time you break the stress response. Quality life. And hopefully that's adding on to the end of your life too. Quality, not crappy life at the end. You got to replace a hip and a knee and a this and a that, because all of that inflammation, the number one reason for all of that is fight or flight. So I hope this is helpful. We're going to go off of Facebook now and into my private Zoom room. If you want to pop in the Zoom room, if you're watching this, just go to zoomwithelle.com. I will let you in there. It goes into a waiting room because I don't want to get Zoom bombed. So thanks so much for being here today. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about willpower. Oh yeah, willpower. How to have more willpower. That's a good one. So I will see you then. Have a great pressure-free day.